Hey guys, it's very popular to make fun of millennials, Gen Z, and Alpha. In fact, I think a part of a set of a comedian, Karen Morgan, part of her set has kind of gone viral where she talks about her kids who are Gen Z and how they can't do things like read a map or read cursive and whatever. And quite honestly, I think talking to a lot of Gen Zs that I've had in class, I think they do know how to do most of those things. She's just joking, though. I don't, she doesn't mean anything harmful by it. She's talking about her kids.
Generation Z doesn't know how to write a check. They don't know how to address an envelope. They don't know how to read cursive. They don't know how to get anywhere unless there's a GPS map on their phone. They can't read a paper map. And so before you say, oh, you should have taught them all those things, let me just tell you this. If Gen Z takes over the world, it's going to be pretty easy for us to get it back.
But there is kind of this, or at least there was this expectation in education that because this generation was like the first generation, and I'm referring to, I guess, Gen Z, maybe a little bit more than millennials, that since they're the first generation to truly grow up completely with the internet and with smartphones, that they would have this ability that previous generations didn't have, like almost like a certain level of maturity and knowledge than previous generations. And there was kind of this extension of like a techno utopia that once you have a technology where people can have the sum total of human knowledge at their fingertips, once they can communicate with people halfway around the world, that so many problems would just almost magically disappear, that we would just figure things out. And what this makes me think of is a kind of a plot line from Star Trek, because I'm a super nerd and everything always goes back to Star Trek. So in the show, there's this technology called the warp drive, and the warp drive allows them, uh, it's a kind of an engine, a rocket engine, that allows the alien races, including the humans, to travel faster than the speed of light. Otherwise, it would take literally thousands, if not sometimes hundreds of thousands of years to get from one planet to another. So in addition to this, they have something called the Prime Directive. And it's basically this rule that if you come across an alien race that doesn't have warp technology, you just leave them alone until they reach that level of sophistication and technology. So in the show, the first alien race the humans encounter are the Vulcans. Now, the Vulcans have been observing humanity for decades, if not maybe centuries, and even walked amongst them, like observing them undetected. But it wasn't until a scientist, Zephyrin Cochrane, uh, actually developed a warp engine, and then the Vulcans noticed the warp engine, that they made themselves known and said, guess what? We're aliens and there's a lot more of us out there. But what the Vulcans also observed about humanity, that, well, in this timeline of Star Trek, when Zephyr and Cochrane developed this warp drive, they were actually humans had just finished, or humanity had just finished a third world war, and even before that, something called the Eugenics War. So the Vulcans kind of, they saw Earth and they're like, wow, you guys are in shambles. I mean, you guys are like, it's amazing you accomplished this. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of help you along with this. You know, you're going into the stars because we recognize you may need this, because they kind of say, well, without our guidance, with this new technology, it doesn't mean you're going to go forward. You could actually go backwards. Why not World War IV? Well, the thing is with this generation, or the generations millennials, the Gen Z and the Alpha, and I even kind of feel a little weird saying the millennials because I'm kind of almost a millennial myself, is that we gave them this technology, and maybe really more the boomers more so, and I would say the older Gen Xers. We gave this technology, we gave the social media, the smartphones, this capability of communicating around the world, of looking up anything, and instead of being that guidance, we just kind of said, here it is, and it's kind of been a disaster, with now you can, you don't have to physically go to someone and bully them. You can do it online, that sort of thing. There wasn't that guidance. There were no Vulcans there because Vulcans don't exist. So we were supposed to be that guide, and we weren't. And the problems they're having now, instead of reaching that that utopia we were hoping for, the problems they're having now are kind of our fault because we didn't provide that guidance. Anyway, that's just my take on it.